Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on what time you're watching this recording, or just simply good hello. This is going to be a short and quick video going over the field experience hours that are required for SPOL 635. The university requires 15 hours for this course. And since this course is focused on observing, recording, and responding to student behavior, it only makes sense to me that at least a part of this time of your 15 required hours are spent actually in the classroom observing student behavior. So consequently, two of our major course assignments that you'll be completing during the fall and spring semesters for this course are an assignment over data collection, which makes perfect sense, and an assignment called FBA, BIP video presentation, FBA being functional behavior assessment, BIP being behavior intervention plan, and video presentation meaning video presentation. So those two major assignments I'm going to tie with 9 of your required field hours. So out of the 15, 9 will be specifically prescribed, aligned, subscribed, specific, detailed, required, lined out and delineated for you. The other 6, of course, will be anything that you want to complete from the UC hours. So yes, 15 hours, regardless of whether you are track A or track B, doesn't matter. The university still requires 15 hours for this course. So if you are a licensed teacher, you can conduct your hours within your classroom. And then on the UC Field Experience iLearn Dropbox form, you would put your information at the top and then have your principal sign that form for you. If you are an individual who is still seeking licensure, you can conduct your hours during paid time. So say, for example, if you're a paraprofessional or a substitute teacher, you can conduct your hours during paid time. However, your observations must take place in a classroom where a certified teacher is teaching, certified and licensed teachers teaching, and their information would go at the top of that UC Field Experience iLearn Dropbox form. Make sure that you're using that form, not the old electronic timesheet. Again, 9 of the 15 hours must reflect alignment with the data collection project and the FBA BIP project. Those 2 assignments must be reflected in your field hours. Your field hours are due by week 7 of our 8-week class. So any field hours? No, not just any 15. So like I said, completion of 15 hours is a requirement for the course. Yes, I know I keep repeating myself. I want to make sure that that part is clear. 15 hours is an absolute requirement. You cannot, shall not, shan't earn a passing grade in the course without the successful completion of the 15 field hours as described here in this video, on this PowerPoint, on our iLearn page, and in the course syllabus. Your UC Field Experience iLearn Dropbox form, which is located in our Field Experience folder on our iLearn page, must reflect the alignment with the data collection project and the FBA BIP project, and then 6 remaining hours, any combination you would like, of any of the UC approved field experience activities. So how do you accrue these hours? So for the data collection project, which is a huge one, so 6 hours for that one assignment. So you would have an hour of time for discussing, meeting with a teacher and talking to them about behaviors that are going on in the classroom, talking about what student or students you would be able to observe. And there's a video for the data collection project, so I won't go into great detail here about that assignment specifically, because I promised that this would be a short, quick video. So when you look at that video about that data collection project, it will explain everything in detail. But so you would spend 1 hour for field experience discussing with the teacher about what students you can observe, what behaviors have been going on in the classroom. Then you would spend 4 hours doing 4 separate observations, one for either frequency or event, one for latency, one for duration, and then one for interval recording or momentary time sampling. Then you would spend an additional hour, which is total 6, going back and sharing with that teacher the results of what you've observed, of what you collected, including your hypothesis about what you believe the functions of behaviors were for each of the behaviors that you observed. For the FBA BIP, for the Functional Behavior Assessment and Behavior Intervention Plan, You would spend an hour in conversation with the teacher before conducting the observation. And that hour would be talking again about what student, in this case, one student, you would be able to observe. What behaviors have been going on, what they've tried, what they haven't tried, getting some background information about the student as well. Then you would go in and you would observe the student. And again, I won't go into a lot of detail about the assignment because, of course, there's a video for that. So you will go in and observe the student, and the type of observation will depend on what type of behavior. So if it's a behavior that lends itself to frequency, you can use frequency. If it's a behavior that lends itself to latency, you would use latency, so forth and so on. But you're doing one observation, approximately an hour, and then you would spend another hour going back and sharing with the teacher your draft of your FBA and your BIP and what you observed, your hypothesis about the student's function and behavior, and what you figure would be a good idea for a behavior intervention plan. So in other words, your draft of your BIP. And so you would share that with the teacher. So 6 hours for the data collection, 9 hours for the FBA BIP. I'm sorry, 3 hours for a total of 9. So 6 for one, 3 for the other, for a total of 9. So out of the 15 required, the 9 are specifically aligned to those 2 major class assignments. After those, or in addition to those, you would have 6 remaining hours. Those 6 remaining hours can be any of the UC approved field experience activities, anything revolving working with students in diverse populations, observing in schools and related agencies like family resource centers, youth service centers, student tutoring, interaction with families and students, attendance at a school board or school-based council meetings, participation in school-based professional learning community, and any other opportunities to assist teachers or other school professionals. So 6 hours can come from any combination of those activities. And those, of course, must be in primary through 12th grade and in the school setting. And again, if you are a certified teacher, you can do that on your own paid time and document the hours on your iLearn form and have your principal sign off for you. If you're not a licensed teacher, then you must do these activities with licensed or certified school personnel and have their information at the top of the iLearn Dropbox form. And then they would sign off for you on those forms. The data collection project. So just to go into a little bit more detail, like I said, you're going to spend a total of 6 hours, 4 hours in observation, 2 hours in discussion, 1 prior to the observation, 1 to share the results. So discussion again with a classroom teacher regarding which students you can observe. And I said students, it could be 1. And again, I won't go into details of the assignment on our short video. Could be 1, could be 2, could be 3, could be 4. But it's 4 behavior observations. And then after you conducted 4 behavior observations, approximately an hour each, then you would share the results of the observations and hypotheses, like I said before, regarding the function of behaviors with the classroom teacher. If you are the teacher of record, again, you can fill out the UC iLearn Dropbox form with your information at the top and have your principal sign off on that. If you are not the teacher of record, then you would have that individual's information at the top of the form instead, and then they would sign on that form. Again, that it must have 6 hours that specifically say working, meeting with teacher to discuss behavior, conducting event observation, conducting a latency observation, conducting a duration. So in other words, when I look at your UC iLearn Dropbox form for field experience, I need to be able to see that that time aligns with the course assignments. If you are a licensed teacher who conducted the observations in your own room, make sure that once you've listed your information at the top, that you have your principal sign off on that form for you. Functional behavior analysis and behavior intervention plan. Total 3 hours. 1 hour of observation, 2 hours of discussion, 1 prior, 1 to share the results afterwards. Again, you're going to discuss with the classroom teacher regarding which student you can observe and what behavior issues have been occurring in the classroom. Again, like I said, also look to get some background information about the student. I would suggest looking at the template for the FBA and BIP before meeting with the teacher, so that way you know what information that you would want to be able to gather and what questions you would want to ask the teacher before meeting with them. You're going to conduct your observation, just 1. And in the real world, of course, we would never base a behavior plan on just 1 observation. This is strictly for learning purposes only. It's a pseudo FBA VIP for learning purposes only. In the real world, like I said, we would never base anything on just one observation. Anybody can have an unusually good day or an unusually bad day. And one day does not make for a pattern of behavior. But for learning purposes, yes, we're going to do one observation. So conversation, one observation, and then a conversation to share out your FBA and BIP that you've completed, and discussion about what you observed and what your thoughts are as far as that behavior plan. Again, if you are the teacher of record, you can observe in your own classroom. And then instead of discussing what the teacher, you would discuss with your colleagues. Same thing with the data collection plan. If you are the teacher of record for the discussion portion of your hours, discuss with your colleagues. Can be at lunch, can be during planning period, can be after school, before school, however you want to do that. But share out with them what you learned, what you found out, what your thoughts are, any reflections you might have about the assignment or about the observations and about the behavior, and about what you might think would work for the child, what you've tried before and didn't work, and what you might want to try differently now if you are the teacher of record. If you're not the teacher of record, then of course that teacher is going to be signing off after you've met with them to share the results. You'd have their information at the top of the page, and then they'd sign off for those 3 hours for this assignment. Again, all of your field hours are documented on the UC Field Experience iLearn Dropbox form. 3 hours must align with this assignment. So I must be able to see 1 hour for observation, 2 hours for discussion, one before, one after, so that way I can see that alignment. So where do you find the Field Experience folder and the forms? So this is a screenshot. And so on our content page of our iLearn, right below the purple folder that says Classroom Session PowerPoint Slides. And if you're looking, well, by the time you watch this video, it'll be there. You'll see on the video that it says in small print, availability item is hidden from students. I obviously didn't want you accessing it before I had this video completed. So it's hidden, but by the time you watch this video, it will be visible for you. And that's where it will be located, right where my purple arrow is pointing. So you'll find it between the class session PowerPoint slides and the rubric folder. Once you open that folder, you'll see, again, a statement at the very top saying 15 hours are required in order to earn a passing grade for the class. And you'll see a link for where you submit your field hours for the university. You will see a link to this PowerPoint, just so in case you want to be able to review the PowerPoint. Then you will see a link to download the principal permission form. For every classroom that you go into, you must have principal permission form, or at least every school. So if you're observing in 3 classrooms in one school, I'm not going to say you need one for every single teacher, but you definitely need a form for every school in which you conduct observation hours. So if you're going to multiple schools, then that would be multiple forms. You can submit more than one form in the Dropbox for the Field Experience Principal Permission Form, or it's Principal Placement Permission Form. Or you can just submit one if you're only going to one place, but you can submit multiples in one submission. So you don't need to have multiple submissions. One submission can have multiple forms. The next thing you'll see there is the where you can download the Field Experience Dropbox form. Again, if you are the teacher of record and you're doing all of the observations in your own classroom, you're listing yourself at the top of that page, listing all of your 15 hours, 9 of which align with the data collection project and the FBA BIP assignment, and then you are having your principal sign off on the bottom. If you're not the teacher of record, you will need a form for each teacher that you observe, or each teacher's room in which you conduct observations of students' behavior. So if you're doing everything in Charlie Brown's room, you only need one form. And Charlie Brown's information would go at the top. You'd fill out all the 15 hours, with 9, of course, aligning with our assignments, the 6 being other approved field experience activities, and then Charlie Brown would sign off next to each of those hours. If you observe in Charlie Brown's class and Schroeder's class and Peppermint Patty's class, you would need 3 forms. All in one submission. You can upload, again, multiple files in one submission. You don't have to have 3 different attempts. One attempt, multiple forms can be uploaded. So just to recap, most critical points. Don't forget to get that principal permission and upload the form or forms. And like I said, the form I showed you there, where you can find that in our field experience folder. 15 total hours documented on the UC Field Experience I Learned Dropbox form, not the old electronic timesheet. 9 of those 15 hours must reflect clear alignment with the data collection project and the FBA BIP project. 6 additional hours of UC approved field experience activities. All of that can be on the same form. A separate form is needed, like I said, for each teacher you observe or classroom where you observe students. Teacher's information goes at the top. Again, if you are the teacher of record, it's your information at the top, and then just have your principal sign off for you. The UC Field Experience I Learned Dropbox form must be signed and uploaded, please, on time. It's due week 7. And one submission again, multiple files or pages are fine. And if you still have questions after our short, brief video, longer than I thought it would be, but if you still have questions, don't hesitate to email me. Hopefully this answered everything, cleared everything up, and hopefully it makes sense. Of course, it makes sense in my head, but hopefully it makes sense outside of my head too. So take care, God bless, and I'll see you guys in class. Good night, everybody, or good morning. Goodbye.